目標は最終兵器メタルギア。ファミコン用カセットメタルギア発売中。
Konami.
So, technically this didn't take a year, right? Good evening, my darling batlings, and welcome back to my castle. Today, I'm starting a first for this series, a marathon retrospective of one of my all-time favorite gaming franchises, Metal Gear. Let's roll the snazzy title card. Metal Gear, or Metal Gear Solid if you're an uncultured swine, is a series near and dear to my cyborg vamp elf heart, and my history with it dates back to April of 2004 with, I think it was issue 110 of Tips and Tricks magazine. I guess they had a spy motif going on that month because the cover story was a guide for 007 Everything or Nothing, which, side note, was also my introduction to the James Bond franchise, but my eye was drawn to another featured walkthrough in that issue, one on a game called Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes. Its industrial espionage setting looks so badass to 11-year-old me, so I went to my mom and said, "Hey, Mom, can we see if this cool game is at Blockbuster after school?" And my dear sweet mother, she just looked at me like a cow looks at an oncoming train, and she leaned right down next to me and said, "Sure." So we went to Blockbuster, I darted to the game section, scoured the new GameCube game rentals until I saw it, the game I'd been so tantalized by. But there was a, teensy problem. That big, bold M rating. See, my mom thought that all M-rated games were either Gorefests or Grand Theft Auto, so, you see, I struck a deal with her that I'd only play it with the blood turned off. Thankfully, this game actually did have that feature, and I managed to bluff my way into that. I took it home, booted it up, and I never made it past the first few hours because even with a guide on hand, I couldn't wrap my hand around the concept of I go sneaky, neaky, 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 neaky. A few years pass, I'm in high school now, I'm visiting my grandparents, and my mom decides to take me to a Halo 3 tournament at a local mom-and-pop game store called Game On. Rest in peace, you beautiful, beautiful store. I come in third place, win $20 in store credit, and I decide to peruse the shelves to see what they've got for $20 or less. I brought my PS2 with me for the trip, so that limited my options for anything I'd actually be able to play while I was there. But there, I saw a familiar face, one from another magazine I was into at the time, PSM. Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. I buy it, take it back home, or rather, to my grandparents' home, and I spend days playing nothing but that game and getting engrossed in its world and characters. And keep in mind, I did this all without a guide because at my grandparents' house, they didn't have Wi-Fi, and the only computer they had ran on Windows 95 and had dial-up internet, so no game facts for me. Needless to say, I was finally hooked. Over the next few trips to my grandparents, we'd go back to Game On every now and then, and I'd pick up the original Metal Gear Solid, as well as Metal Gear Solid 2. In 2011, when I'm in college, I finally got my hands on a PS3 as a Christmas gift, and alongside it was Metal Gear Solid 4. To make a long story short, I was a late bloomer to the Metal Gear fandom, but it's still one of my favorite sagas in any medium ever. But there's a bit of a hole in my experience with this series I love so much. I've only played through the original 2 MSX games that started it all, one each. As much as I'd like to skip ahead to the entry that was most people's first Metal Gear game, Metal Gear Solid, I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't take a look at the MSX duology. I originally planned on tackling both in one video, but the first game alone gave me plenty to talk about, so we'll be taking these on one at a time. Without further Mountain Dew, let's get started with Metal Gear for the MSX2 home computer via the recent Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. Like many games of the era, most of Metal Gear's story is written in its manual. I'll be using a fan translation of it for reference, linked in the description and pinned comment below. Seriously, props to the dude who did all of this translation. I could never imagine it. The year is 19XDX, and a military fortress established in the 80s deep in South Africa by a mad war hero, known as Outer Heaven, the base, not the war hero, has reportedly built some manner of super weapon. The Special Forces Infiltration Unit Foxhound sent their top agent Gray Fox to gather intel on what the weapon was. But Gray Fox lost contact with Foxhound HQ, with his last words being Metal Gear. Foxhound founder and commander Big Boss sends rookie agent Solid Snake into Outer Heaven to rescue Gray Fox, find out what the Metal Gear weapon is, and destroy it. Armed only with a radio and a pack of cigarettes, Snake infiltrates Outer Heaven's perimeter, shown as soon as you start the game. Big Boss immediately contacts Solid Snake to go over Operation Intrude N313, and to convey to the player that this is a sneaking mission first and foremost. You can't go in guns blazing or else you're dead meat. Once the cutscene's over, I'm given control and start exploring the first few areas of Outer Heaven. Since Snake doesn't start with any weapons, all I can do right now is walk in 4 directions, punch, and open an item menu and a weapon menu. The game is divided into separate screens, similar to the 2D Legend of Zelda games, but without the smooth scrolling transition between them, as was the style of microcomputer games of the time. I move up a screen, I come across a couple of guards. Oh shit, what am I gonna do? Oh wait, luckily for me, the guards in Metal Gear have the most severe case of tunnel vision possible, and can only see what's directly in front of them. They can't hear my footsteps either, so all I have to do is sneak by them when they're looking away from me. A couple of screens later, I come across some trucks, and I, of course, decide to go inside them. One holds some rations, which are health recovery items for this adventure. You can use one from the menu screen to heal instantly, or if you run out of health while you have the rations equipped on you, they'll instantly refill your health upon what would be your death. I noticed that if I keep entering and exiting the truck, the rations infinitely respawn. Good thing to note. Skipping ahead a bit, the respawn trick also applies to rooms with ammo in them, so if you ever need to grind for weapons and ammo, just keep entering and exiting until you get everything you need. One truck has our first of many key cards in it, and I head back to explore some more until I come across some more trucks that carry a pair of binoculars that I proceed to never use, a pistol that I proceed to use every now and then, and I get jumped by a guard while I was writing some notes down, triggering my first of many alerts. I guess now's a better time than any to talk about the alert system. See, when a guard or a security camera or a laser beam detects you, the guards go on alert and begin swarming you, trying to gun you down. There's actually 2 types of alert phases that are very subtly different from each other, and are indicated by whether the guard that spots you has 1 exclamation mark above his head or 2. 1 mark means the alert goes away on the next screen, while 2 means that the guards will follow you around the map until you either kill them all or enter a safe area like an elevator. Snake starts out with a pitiful amount of health and can barely hold any ammo at first, so it's best to stay out of sight as much as possible so you don't waste time running and or fighting guards, or, worse, die. I wander around a bit, find a locked door, and equip my new keycard to open it, leading to a lone guard who decides to fall asleep standing up like he's some kind of horseman. Don't worry, dude, I'm an insomniac with a terminally fucked up sleep schedule myself. I get you. I relate to you. I won't rat you out. I will cave your face in, though, so I can snag this gas mask. Back on the main path, I see 2 guards standing by the elevator, so I wait here for their shift to end so I can get into the elevator undetected. Up on the next floor, I spot some surveillance cameras, and I get a call from Big Boss telling me not to get spotted by them. Thanks, boss. Wouldn't have figured that out on my own. I avoid the cameras, procure some ammo, and find a room with a tied-up POW who I proceed to save. You'll want to rescue every single one of these guys you come across, not only because some of them give you helpful hints, but rescuing a certain amount of POWs raises your rank, which both increases your max health and ammo count, and also becomes a requirement for story progression in a late part of the game. Do not, I repeat, do not, under any circumstances, kill any of them, or else you'll go down a rank, which can lead to your entire playthrough being softlocked, meaning you'll have to start from the very beginning. I venture into a room where my health starts draining due to a flow of poison gas. I get a call from Big Boss who says that, oops, he forgot to warn me of the deadly neurotoxin. The legendary soldier, Big Boss, everybody. He tells me to call Schneider, the leader of the resistance fighting Outer Heaven, but doesn't give me his frequency, and not wanting to look it up myself and coming prepared already, I equip my gas mask and casually stroll through the room. However, since keycards and the gas mask are both counted as equipable items, and I can only have one equipped at a time, I'm forced to take at least a bit of damage in order to unlock the door and exit the room. Dick move, guys, seriously. After a few more screens, I rescue another POW who tells me that Gray Fox is unharmed. I rescue another POW who tells me that Gray Fox is unharmed, which is some much needed good news in this nightmare scenario. I come across a room with a roller trap that kills you in one hit if you touch it, snag some C4, trigger another alert, panic, and grab my second key card. This segues into another major gripe that I have with Metal Gear, the way keycards work. First of all, each key is a separate inventory item, and there's 8 in total. That wouldn't be too bad on its own, but due to this being an MSX2 game from 1987, there's no visual indicator for what door corresponds to what key. This means that you eventually have to run into a door over and over and over and over and over again, cycling through each key until you find out which one opens it, then make a note of which door is unlocked by which key, or, if you're an idiot like yours truly, not do that and instead go through the key cycling rigmarole every time because you never thought to jot down the key door combinations. I feel like if we were to still work within the limitations of the MSX2 and therefore couldn't plaster signs or color codes for the locked doors to directly tell you what keys go with them, then the Metal Gear team could have just made the keys stack. What I mean by that is, say you have the first key, then you pick up key 2. Key 2 would replace key 1, and now automatically opens up level 1 and level 2 doors. Same goes for keys 3 through 8. I know from past experience that Metal Gear Solid would go with exactly what I suggested here, so I'm guessing that gamers even back then had some gripes with this key system as well. Oh well, every first installment is going to have its share of bad design choices. You gotta learn from your mistakes after all. I come across an electrified floor, which Big Boss helpfully tells me I'll need a remote missile to deactivate. So I head back a few rooms and explore some more until I find the remote missile in question, free another POW, get ambushed by some guards in a surprise boss fight, kill them all in a few seconds thanks to my pistol, get a silencer for said pistol so I can comfortably use it without alerting the entire base now, backtrack to the electric floor screen, fire the missile and guide it to destroy the switch box and deactivate the electricity. Jesus Christ, that was a mouthful of stuff. Why'd I write it like that? I find another POW who gives me the frequency for a woman named Diane. I try to call her, and I get zip not a zilch, so I don't bother trying to call her ever again. With this floor covered for now, I head to the elevator, move to another floor, and instantly get spotted by some cameras.
Oh, man!
After all of this, I've finally rescued enough POWs to level up, and this one that I just rescued tells me that Gray Fox is being held in a secret prison cell. I grab an SMG, begin gleefully cackling about raining bullets on all those who oppose me, but then I remember that it doesn't have a suppressor and snap back to reality. The next POW I saved finally told me how to find Gray Fox. I just have to let myself get captured. Easy, right? So I wander into a secluded corner, get caught by some guards, and get thrown into the slammer.
All according to K-Cock.
Big Boss calls me to tell me that I can punch the walls to find which one of them is breakable, which should lead directly to Gray Fox's cell. So I start punching every bit of wall until I find a spot that makes a different noise and makes a question mark appear above Snake's head. Then go JoJo on it until the wall breaks, revealing a hidden room containing Gray Fox. Alright, mission accomplished! Or, first part of our mission at least. The freed Gray Fox explains that Metal Gear is a giant bipedal tank that can launch a nuclear strike anywhere on Earth, and the only man who knows how to destroy this doomsday weapon is Metal Gear's creator, Dr. Drago Petrovich Madnar. God, my accent was horrible there, I apologize. With my new goal in mind, I break out of prison and get ambushed by our first proper boss fight, the Shotmaker, whose name makes me think of the Shockmaster. You guys know the Shockmaster, right? Cue the Shockmaster.
He is none other than the Shockmaster! All right! The Shockmaster! I told you.
They call me the Shockmaster.
With no weapons at hand, I can't fight this guy just yet, so I punch a door open, grab my stolen equipment, chuck out a bug that was planted in it, return to the arena, spray off some SMG fire at the Shotmaker, and beat him in a couple seconds thanks to the magic of high-velocity lead. I grab the third key card and move onward to new frontiers. The next room has some guard dogs laying in wait, and against my own desires, I have to put the puppers down so they don't maul me to death. I'm sorry, I didn't want to do this! I find another fake wall that won't fall to my fist, blow it up with some C4, and grab myself a bomb blast suit before hitching a ride on the elevator to a floor that greets me with a set of security lasers that I can only see by contracting acute myeloid leukemia. Next up is another boss fight, this time against Machine Gun Kid, who I beat in a couple seconds thanks to the SMG. I grab a parachute, rescue another POW, and learn that in order to get to the courtyard of Building 1, I need to parachute off the top of the roof. A few sleeping guards and an electric floor later, I find a pair of IR goggles that let me see lasers without charring my lungs. I take an elevator ride, grab a cardboard box, ride the elevator again, and finally make my way to the roof, where Big Boss tells me to use the blast suit to avoid being blown away by the strong wind. I carefully cross a shaking bridge that totally didn't trigger my fear of heights, as well as some childhood memories of when me and my dad went to the mountains and had to cross a shaky metal bridge suspended over a chasm where he intentionally shook it to scare me because he thought it was funny, get spotted by guards wearing jetpacks, panic once again, and die. It's here that I learned that dying sends you back to the beginning of the current floor, so I pause the game to save in case something fucky happens. After saving my game, I grab a mine detector, try my best to avoid the flying guards, and finally come across my next boss fight. A Hind D. What's a Russian gunship doing here? Oh wait, wrong Metal Gear game. This is the first boss fight where I can't just spray and pray with my SMG, but fortunately, I beat it in a couple seconds thanks to my grenade launcher that I completely forgot to mention that I got earlier. With the final roadblock of this building out of the way, I parachute off the roof, land in the courtyard, check out a nearby truck, and then the truck moves me all the way back to the beginning of Building 1. So I save my game and backtrack all the way to where I was just a few seconds ago, noting to not get in that truck this time. I grab card number 4, find the room where Dr. Madnar is supposedly being held, and discover that he was moved to another location, which a nearby POW helpfully tells me is in Building 2. So I traverse the desert, check out a truck, and it once again moves me back, with me reacting accordingly. After a bit of backtracking, I find that something is firing shells from off-screen, and that thing in question turns out to be a tank. I start laying down mines to try to destroy it and die in the process, sending me back a few screens. No trouble though, because I came up with a new strategy. Get beside the tank and spam it with mines so it can't shoot back at me. Perfect! Except for the fact that this plan goes tits up because going anywhere near the tank's hitbox is an instant death. Attempt number 3! I get into a pattern of laying mines in its path and luring it back and forth until the tank finally explodes and I celebrate with a victory screech. I finally make it to the outskirts of Building 2, where Big Boss calls me to tell me that I need an enemy uniform to sneak past the guards and that he's switching frequencies from now on. Shit, I'm gonna have to go back, aren't I? I once again returned to Building 1, used my cardboard box to sneak past security cameras and hide from guards like any snake worth his name would, die again, reload, return to the prison area, blow up a fake wall inside the spiral maze from earlier, and finally get my hands on the enemy uniform. Please tell me that's all I need here. I take the slow route back to the desert where the tank is respawned somehow, meaning I have to do it all over again, and let me tell you, after this, if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably say, stick it up your ass. I once again reached the outside of Building 2, equipped my new enemy uniform, and the guards let me right in. That was easy, except for all the backtracking I had to do, of course. It's here that I realized while writing this that I haven't said much about Metal Gear's presentation, so please allow me to get sidetracked on that topic. Now, I'm a millennial who's lived in the US his whole life, so I'm obviously no expert on the capabilities of the MSX2 platform, other than the fact that there were a not insignificant amount of ports back and forth between the NES, the Sega Master System, and the MSX family, so I can only assume that's comparable, if not a bit weaker, than the other two dominant consoles of the era. As such, it makes sense that Metal Gear doesn't do too much in terms of mind-blowing graphics, but it does look quite nice for a game from 1987. Sprites are well drawn and clearly defined, the various areas of Outer Heaven are visually distinct, ensuring that you always know exactly where you are, and the game runs at a smooth frame rate with little to no slowdown, even in hectic firefights and chases. Compare this, once again, to The Legend of Zelda, where the sprites look primitive for a mid-80s game, many areas of the map were near identical, and navigating the overworld of Hyrule was a major headache without outside help. On the other hand, though, sound effects and music leave something to be desired. Gunshots and explosions are understandably understated, due to limitations of the hardware, but are loud enough and distinct enough to let you know when you score a hit or when you take damage. This is especially true in boss fights, where the damage sound raises in pitch when the boss is close to death, something that I haven't seen much of, if any of, in games of that era. However, and this is admittedly a personal preference, taking down enemies and especially bosses doesn't have nearly a satisfying enough sound. Enemies just make a quick poof sound, while bosses, in particular vehicle bosses, lack that satisfying 8-bit explosion to send them off, making your victory feel less adrenaline pumping and more, well, I guess I won. The music in the game is likewise simple in its compositions and lacking in variety, a far cry from what the series would become known for. Most of the game has this short 10-second or so loop playing over and 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 over again until it haunts your dreams. It does get replaced by a new droning loop later on in the game, but by then it's just replacing one boring track with another. If this loop, called Theme of Tara, wasn't the main song I heard throughout my playthrough, I doubt it would have gotten lodged in my head like it is as I'm editing this. Basically, it needs more variety to break up the monotony. And to part 1, part 2 coming soon because I need to get something out before I go out on vacation for 2 weeks and I don't want you guys to wait too long. Don't forget to like and subscribe!